The rise of Idi Amin in Uganda in 1971 marked the beginning of a decade and a half of political turmoil. Amin's rule relied heavily on a group of people known as the Nubians, or Nubi, a community that played a crucial role in shaping Uganda's history, but whose roots trace back to the slave soldiers of southern Sudan. These Nubians were believed to be the descendants of Sudanese slave soldiers who came to Uganda in the late 1880s under the command of Emin Pasha, a German-born officer serving as the governor of Sudan's Equatoria province. Fleeing the Mahdi's Islamic uprising, these soldiers would become instrumental in the creation of Britain's East African Empire. These soldiers formed the core of the forces used by Frederick Lugard to carve out British territories in East Africa, including Uganda. Their military prowess and loyalty became a cornerstone of Britain's expansion in the region, earning the Nubians a special status within the colonial system. In the colonial era, the West Nile district in northern Uganda became a focal point for the Nubian community. Nubian officers were appointed as district and county chiefs, imposing British administration and taxation while dominating long-distance trade and urban life. Over time, local tribes such as the Lugbara, Mahdi, and Kakwa began to adopt Nubian customs, including the distinctive 111 facial scars. The 111 facial marks, consisting of 3 vertical lines scarred on the cheeks, originated with Sudanese slave soldiers who used them to identify their captives. Over the course of the 20th century, these markings were adopted by members of local West Nile tribes as a symbol of status and belonging. By the 1970s, these marks had become a defining feature of Idi Amin's Nubian supporters. Although often referred to as an ethnic group, the Nubians in Uganda are better understood as a club rather than a fixed ethnicity. Membership in this community was based on professing the Muslim faith and speaking Kinubi, a form of southern Sudanese trade Arabic. Over time, Nubi identity became a strategic, elective identity that allowed individuals from different tribes to gain social mobility and power. During the colonial era, the West Nile district was maintained as a closed area from which outsiders were excluded and cash crops were discouraged. Instead, the region became a labor reserve, supplying workers for plantations in southern Uganda. West Nilers, known for their strength and military prowess, were heavily recruited into the colonial army and coercive institutions like the police and prison services. This militarized background would later give rise to leaders like Idi Amin. As Idi Amin rose to power, he relied increasingly on the support of the Nubians, his fellow 111s, to maintain control over the country. The Nubians, with their military background and strategic importance, became key players in Amin's regime, shaping the politics and social dynamics of Uganda during his rule. Today, the legacy of the Nubians and the 111s continues to shape the West Nile region of Uganda. The distinctive facial marks, once a symbol of slavery and military loyalty, have evolved into a complex marker of identity and history. The Nubian story raises profound questions about the continuity of social forces across pre-colonial, colonial, and post-colonial periods, and the enduring impact of slavery on modern-day Uganda.